Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. CC3, also known as Contingency Contract Cinders, is now officially over, and I briefly wanted to summarize my thoughts and share them with you. In previous contingency contracts, I don't think I've ever given Hypergriff the degree of credit that they deserved. I would often risk 8 all the daily maps and watch a guide to risk 18 the permanent map, and that would be it. It sounds very lame, and I certainly did not appreciate the challenge of pushing higher risk and limit testing the operators that I've summoned and raised across many months of active, consistent gameplay. So with the arrival of Cinders about 2 weeks ago, I dove in with a completely different mindset, limited the amount of guides I watched, and pushed for the highest risk I could. And at the end of it all, I can confidently say that it was a genuinely amazing experience. First, let's focus on the permanent map and talk about strategy. The enemy archetypes in this map were largely derived from the previous Arknights Memoir event, featuring Sarkaz mercenaries. The major threat in this Contingency Contract's permanent map was the Sarkaz Sentinel leader, who would walk around the map and if hit would ultimately buff all enemies as well as activate the deadly Grudge Bearers. In essence, the primary goal was to defeat all enemies before landing a single hit on the leader. Combine that with the unique layout of the map with 2 primary lanes, the jet streams, and the limited tiles you can deploy your units on, this map was considerably difficult even if you were only going for risk 18. As players pushed into higher risk territory, the major issue that needed to be addressed was that the leaders would walk too quickly, so quickly that they would eventually path into your base before the last few Grudge Bearers would even move. To combat this, the Arknights community settled on 2 major strategies which formed the vast majority of Risk 33 clears on YouTube. First, we have the stalling strat, where you would ultimately prevent the Sentinel leaders from moving by placing down 3 block defenders in an arrangement to hit one of the soldiers, archers, or lancers, and block the leaders without dealing any damage to them. And with that, slowly chip away at waves of enemies with burst DPS like Aya, Ifrit, or Surtur, and quote-unquote stall until all the enemies except the enemy leaders were dead. On top of this, there was a variation of the strat using Weedy, where you would use her skill 2 to attack cancel the Grudge Bearers, essentially stalling the left lane. On the other hand, we have the brute force strat, where you would clump your DPS near the enemy spawn, use slow abilities to form a tight choke point, proc every Sentinel leader, and deal as much damage as possible in a short frame of time. And of course, pray for Nightingale's RNG arts dodge. Overall, this all goes to show how genius, how absolutely brilliant of a map this was. It really challenges you to perfect your timing, perfect your micromanagement, all within the restraints of the operators you've summoned and built thus far. Now let's talk a little about whales versus free-to-plays. So first of all, in terms of rewards, I don't think any free-to-play players were gated from getting risk 8 on every daily map and risk 18 on the permanent map. However, it's without a doubt that if you are free-to-play and don't have a majority of key operators popularized in CC3, it would have been incredibly difficult to achieve higher risks, and probably impossible to clear max risk. But when you step back and think about it, that is exactly what makes Contingency Contract such an amazing event. The goal players set for themselves, especially free-to-play and low spenders, shouldn't be to achieve max risk. It should be to limit test their account, form a unique strategy with the limited operators they own, and see how much further they can progress with each upcoming CC. And this is exactly what makes every CC so rewarding for both free-to-play and whales. Now, what about the rotating stages? I think overall, the format is great. It's cool revisiting some of the older maps and to the extent possible use newer operators to clear them. However, instead of recycling those maps, I think it would be very cool to see older maps added to an archive and for every new CC to introduce new daily stages. But again, I'm fine with the existing format. I still think it's very refreshing and it's great revisiting some of the older maps every other day. So, what are my goals for the next CC? Max risk, of course! And we will of course be streaming it on Twitch, as always. This CC, the farthest that I reached was risk 30. God, why? I wanted further. I did have all the essential operators to pull off the stalling or brute force strat, but I did not have enough levels or M3s to do so. And in all honesty, that makes me super excited. I'm looking forward to setting a priority list, upgrading my operators over time, and eventually putting forth my best performance when CC4 hits in a couple of months. And I hope that you are excited too. And with that, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all next time. Peace out.